What's up, guys? I am back and I'm looking at some more NBA plays today for you guys over on the second channel. These are not official plays for me, but I'll be showing off some trends and some really high hit rates for some of these guys tonight. And guys are overall in really good matchups or really good spots in terms of the hit rate tonight. Let's hop in and get you guys some of these plays. If you have not seen one of my videos before, this is my second channel. My main channel, I show off my official NBA plays for the day every single day. I give out 2 free plays over on DOMG Prop. You can go subscribe to the link down in my description, but you also can get all of my plays over in the DubClub, so where you can get all of my official plays for all sports, everything. There's a 2-day free trial down in my description. I'm over $5,000 of profit on prizepicks, so overall I'm a very reputable player over on prizepicks. 2-day free trials down in my description. But let's get to these plays here and show off some of these trends that I'm liking for this NBA slate here. The first kind of trend that I like here is going to be Trey Murphy tonight. This one has the best hit rate of the video, and he has been just absolutely on fire as of late. But not for his points or anything like that, more his rebounds and assists at 9 on prizepicks. Or on underdog, you can find Trey Murphy here actually on the board at 8.5, but it does kind of lower the payout a little bit at a lower multiplier if you look at the 8.5 rebounds and assists, which is somewhere around the board. There it is. He's at a 0.9x right now over on underdog. If you take a look here at Outlier here, Trey Murphy, he's actually over this in 55% of games this year, but he's been on fire as of late. He's over this in 10 straight games, as you can see. He has barely gone over this line in a couple of those games here, including last game, which was a tougher matchup against Boston. Now he gets to face the Denver Nuggets here, who overall rank 5th in assists allowed per game, but allow the most assists per game right there, ranking 30th. In a small forward specifically, they rank 4th and then 28th in assists allowed per game. By the way, I said he's over in 10 straight games. He's really over in 12 straight games, as you can see here for Outlier here. He's at least 9 in 12 straight games. So if you're playing this one on prizepicks, there is some push potential. He's landed on 9 rebounds and assists 4 times in his last 7 games, as you can see there. And we can even take some look at the injury report here too, which just makes things look even better here for Trey Murphy. Without Herb Jones this year, he's over in 68%. Without Brandon Ingram, though, he's over in 65%. And also, you can also factor in games without DeJounte Murray also, by the way. Like, without Murray and Ingram, he's actually had 10 and 9 his last 2 games here without those guys playing. And the rebound chances and the potential assists were pretty nice in these games. His minutes are also extremely high right here. You can see also 40 minutes and 37 minutes there. And in games, if you take a look where he plays like 36 plus minutes there, he's over in 62% of games. He even adjusts all the way down to 32 plus. He's still over in 60% of games. So he's been really hot as of late. There's a lot of injuries to this team, including like Herb Jones, for example, which absolutely just increases his hit rate a ton. So a lot of injuries to this team, a lot of potential good minutes here for Trey Murphy. Overall, I think he's in a pretty good spot for his rebounds and assists tonight based on those trends. And again, these are not official plays for me. Those plays are already posted in the YouTube video and are over in the DubClub. But I just want to show off these trends here. At least I'm just doing some research into the trends, and you guys can see if you like these plays or not for tonight's slate. But the next play I like here is an interesting one for sure. It's going to be Josh Green here, and his points plus assists tonight at 10.5. So he's at 10.5 on the prizepicks board here. He's been pretty good as of late. He's over in 5 straight games, averaging 13.6. He has hooked both overs, though, in the last 2 games. But this matchup is really good for him here against the Washington Wizards. So he's actually been over this in only 49% of games this year. Actually, prizepicks was wrong, by the way. He just played a couple days ago and actually only had 7 right there against the Denver Nuggets. His minutes are actually increased here. You can see what he's done in his last few games. He's actually played 30 plus minutes in 4 of his last 5 games. You can adjust this here to games where he's played at least 28 minutes, for example, where he's over at 65%, 30 plus minutes over in 67% of games. But also, this matchup is really, really good for him here because Washington, they allow the most points per game and the most rebounds allowed per game. Even just shooting guard specifically, they still allow the most points per game and rebounds per game to the shooting guard position. You can also see how he's been at home this year, by the way, also, because he's actually over this in 4 of his last 5 home games, as you can see there. He'll be at home yet again in this game here against Washington. It's expected to stay close also, by the way. It's a 5-point spread where they are favored. And wins this year, that hit rate does drop up quite a bit. You also see how he's been this year with, like, even just 28 plus minutes in wins this year. So he's been really good, and this matchup's really good for him. It's probably one of my favorite trends here is going to be this Josh Green over his points and rebounds tonight. All right, let's take a look at the next play here over on prizepicks, play number 3 out of 7. We're going to take a look at Karl Anthony Towns here and his rebounds here, but actually on the under for 13. So he's at 13 on the prizepicks board, but yet again, you could go to an app like Underdog Fantasy, for example, an app with multipliers, and you can find this one at 13.5, where you could end up taking the under before a lower payout. So I think both spots are nice, but you do kind of risk that push potential, of course. But he's had 13 or less in 48% of games this year, and has been kind of slowing down as late. He's only over in 3 of his last 10 games here. You'll see his minutes kind of dropping a little bit, even in some close games too here, like the Denver game here. It was a 10-point spread there, and he still saw, just under 30 minutes in that game. But even if you adjust this to games where he's played good quality minutes, also, by the way, which is like 28 plus minutes, he's still over in only 50% of games. They're also 6.5-point favorites in this one. He is on 1 day of rest. At home this year, he's over in only 41% of games, but he's actually been under this in 5 of his last 6 games at home. So if you look at games where he's at home this year, the hit rate drops from 48% down to 41%, and you can see how much red here is in his last few games. He's only over in, 3 of his last 12 games, maybe that is? I don't know the exact number, but he's been really slow as of late in terms of rebounding, especially at home. This matchup also against Houston is very tough. They rank 8th in rebounds allowed per game at 42.9. Even to center specifically, they rank 3rd, which is even tougher, at only 11.2 rebounds per game this year. He did have a pretty good game against them this year where he dropped 19 rebounds, but that was back in November. A much different spot. Overall, though, I think this is a good spot here for Karl-Anthony Towns on the under as a nice trend. Now, the next play I want to show off here is going to be Zion Williamson here over his fantasy score. So PrizePicks exclusive play here. You can also find this one on Underdog too, but 40.5 is the line here over on PrizePicks. He's actually been over this in a lot of games this year. He's actually over in 11 out of 13 this year and has been over in plenty straight, as you can see there. And that's even with some of these guys being injured on this team, like we showed off with Trey Murphy earlier. You have Brendan Ingram, DeJounte Murray, and Herb Jones being out in this game here. Without Brendan Ingram this year, he's actually over in every single game. Some of these games he is barely going over, but he is still over in all 7 games this year. It is a tougher matchup here against Denver, just overall. It is also a 10.5 point spread, so we do have to avoid the blowout if you want the over in this one. Matchup here against Denver, which he's actually covered pretty well against in the past. This is last season, so do keep that in mind, but he dropped 51.5, 41.8, and 46.7 fantasy score in those 3 games against Denver. And again, though, that was a lot different of a spot. Like, his minutes were different in those games. He was playing really high, like 30-minute games here, when as of late, he's only playing like around 28 minutes here. So if this game does stay close, we should be seeing about 28 minutes here from Zion. So do kind of keep that in mind. That's probably why this one is on the lower side, on top of the matchup being a little bit on the tougher side. But overall, Zion's been great this year, and they also have a ton of guys being out, like DeJounte Murray and Brandon Ingram, as well as Herb Jones, which puts Zion in a really nice scoring spot here, which I think you could go over his fantasy score. You could also be playing these on DraftKings Pick 6, by the way. They also have some awesome promos going on right now. If you use promo code DOMG, you get the app for yourself down in my description. It's available in most states. Like if you're in a PrizePicks state, there's a very good chance that DraftKings Pick 6 is also in your state. You get a free square when you sign up and Patrick Mahomes at half a passing yard. And all you have to do is play $5 and you get $59 instantly in DraftKings Pick 6 credits, which are essentially promo funds. So again, promo code DOMG, use the link down in my description. That will get you access to the Patrick Mahomes free square, as well as that $59 instantly in those Pick 6 credits. So DraftKings Pick 6 available in my description. But getting into trend number 5 here, we're going to take a look now at Isaiah Hartenstein. This one's actually not a normal square on the board, but he's actually going to be a Green Goblin prop on the board. We're going to scroll down here and go with the over 9.5 rebounds or 10.5 rebounds. I do think you will still cover the 10.5 here, which is why I'm going to click on this one here. But you can also find him at 11.5, which I also love here over on Underdog. You just have to click on the little alt line category here. I think 12.5 rebounds is a bit steep, but I think he could still cover this here. But he's had at least 11 rebounds in 71% of games this year. He's only landed exactly on 11, by the way, twice, which is why I like the over 11.5 on Underdog also. But over in 71%. He's also been over this in 5 straight games, as you can see right there. But also what I love here is that he's had 12 plus in 7 of his last 8 games against bottom 10 defenses for rebounds allowed per game. In Milwaukee, they ranked 24th at 45.3 per game. Center specifically, they are a little bit tougher at 12.4 per game, but I still think this is a spot where Hartenstein could still cover here. He's also already covered this one against Milwaukee this year. He's only played them one time where he dropped 12 rebounds, which was in 32 minutes. So I think we could end up seeing around 32 minutes in this game for Hartenstein. Probably not that much, but right around there without a blowout. But he's been playing pretty much those minutes here in non-blowout situations here. Like the Portland game was a 10-point spread there. You also have 7 points right there against the Warriors. This game here, he played pretty well against the Kings. He dropped 15 rebounds, but he only played 27 minutes due to a massive 34-point blowout. So as long as they're not getting blown out here, which by the way, Milwaukee is missing a ton of guys today. They're missing guys like Giannis in the lineup, which is obviously going to impact this a ton. Bobby Portis is also out, so he's going to be rebounding here against Brook Lopez. So I'm not putting too much weight here into this last game here against Milwaukee, but this is also probably one of my favorite plays of all the ones that I'm giving out in this video. If I was to play one of these plays, it'd probably be Isaiah Hartenstein for his rebounds tonight. They just really got to avoid the blowout here. It is going to be a tough matchup here for Milwaukee here, at least against OKC. But I think overall it should be a nice spot for Hartenstein and his rebounds. Hopefully he grabs these pretty fast though before a blowout is evident. But you also could end up just taking the first quarter rebounds to avoid the blowout just as a whole. Moving on now to trend number 6. This one here is going to be Paolo Banchero. That's because this time I actually like his under on his points plus assists here against the Warriors. So he's only over this in one of his last 5 games, averaging only 23 points plus assists, as you can see there. And Banchero here is only over in 5 of his last 16 games here, or just as a whole this year, he's over in 5 out of 16, which is 31%. He's also been over this in only 1 of his last 10 games, as you can see here. He's had a rough go of it the last few games here, but although a lot of these games here were with him not playing in the 30-minute mark, where he has been playing 30 minutes as of late. However, in these last 3 games here, even playing around 44 minutes there in an OT game, only had 23 points and assists. And part of the reason for that is going to be that their team is actually decently healthy now. You have guys like Franz Wagner being in the lineup now, and he is 4 for 10 with him this year, but also he's just started seeing more and more minutes coming off that injury. But he's actually been under this in 8 of his last 10 games, as you can see there. The Warriors are a pretty tough matchup here in terms of point per game. They're ranked 9th in points allowed per game at 111.6, but they do rank pretty high in those assists allowed per game. But still, I think even if he ends up dropping like 22 points, I don't necessarily think that he gets 7 assists in this one to cover the line. So I think it's gonna be a really tough spot for him here because I don't trust him to score the points necessarily, but also to just rack up that many assists. So I like the spot with Magic being pretty healthy now. Green Bay Carroll's under here as a trend. And the final trend in this video here is going to be a big man here on the over first points. Rudy Gobert over 12.5 points here against the Sacramento Kings. He's over in 4 of his last 5 games, averaging 13.6 in his last 5. The Kings are going to be without De'Aaron Fox. Just putting that out there, not because of that. That's not the reason I'm taking a center for his over points here, but they are going through some changes right now to their lineup for sure. In Sacramento here, they're already allowing a ton of points per game. They're ranked 22nd at 115.2 per game. To center specifically, they're ranked 20th at 19 allowed per game. And Gobert's been, a little bit more aggressive as of late here. He's over in 6 of his last 8 games, as you can see there. He's actually over this also in 4 of his last 5 games against bottom 10 defenses for points allowed per game, where Sacramento, they rank 22nd right there, meaning that they're in the bottom 10. So this year, or just in the past year against the Sacramento Kings, he is 0 for 2 against them, actually 0 for 3 against them this year. But I'm really not too concerned about that because you do have some injuries to this Minnesota Timberwolves team. You have Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle being out in this game here. He's only played 1 game this year without Julius Randle, where he played a massive 37 minutes and had 12 field goal attempts. Although this was in a very different matchup here against the Wizards here, I do still think it's a very nice spot for him here. He was very aggressive in that game. And there's opportunity for him to be aggressive in this game also, which is why I like him as a trend on the over first points tonight. So to recap, my trends for tonight are Trey Murphy over 8.5 rebounds and assists, Josh Green over 10.5 points plus assists, Karl-Anthony Towns under 13.5 rebounds, Zion over 40.5 fantasy score on prizepicks, Isaiah Hartenstein over 10.5 rebounds, Paolo Banchero under 28.5 points plus assists, and Rudy Gobert over 12.5 points. Those are the 7 plays that I like here as trends on prizepicks, according to Outlier and the research. So again, this is research, not official plays from me. The official plays would be in the YouTube video and also in the DubClub. All my plays are in the DubClub, by the way. But my main channel has 2 of the official plays for me over on DOMG Props, the main channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe with those post notifications turned on. If you want to see me over $5,000 of profit on prizepicks, watch this video on your screen right now.